I am
Start again.
Hi, I am Muhammad Ayaz Umar, and I'm going to present on the topic economy of scale. And we are three group members. The other two is Sarika and Sidram, and uh, and I'm going to present on the economy of scale. Economy of scale is referred to uh, decrease the per unit cost that arises from the total output of a product. Here, the one question arises: how companies or organization get the optimum level or economy of scale? They have several reasons. First of all, they specialized in labor, uh, and the second one is they integrated the technology, and the third one is maybe they produce the products in bulks, and the fourth one is from the maybe supplier side, and the last one is the cost of capital. Economy of scales come from these aspects. So another topic is I'm going to present is diseconomy of scale. Companies uh, no more um, sustain on the, yeah, economy of scale, because with the passage of time, they when they increase their output, their marginal cost is also increasing, and uh, so that's why they get the diseconomy of scale. They also have several reasons. One of them is lower operational efficiency, and the second one is uh, lack of wastage, and the third one is the the less coordination between the organization department. And I'm uh, also going to present on internal economy of scale and external economy of scale. uh, Internal economy of scale is from inside the organization, and external economy of scale is from outside the organization. It's from the whole industry. That's the end of my presentation, and I am going to invite my next group member, Sarika, which will be continue on internal economic of scale.
Thank you, Ayaz. I'm going to present on internal economies of scale. The issue of internal economies of scale apply in all industries and in all sectors. Big companies have the capacity to produce in large quantities. Large volume increases the bargaining power of the firm in the market through reduced prices, either because of bulk purchasing in bulk or producing in bulk, thus incurring less production cost. Factors that contribute to the internal economies of scale can be grouped into five categories: technical economies, financial economies, monospeak and economies, network economies, and the management or managerial economies. First, come to the part technical economies of scale. When a firm scales up its productivity and efficiency, it becomes more strategized in terms of market influence. However, if a firm can manage to invest in specialized machinery based on their capacity of investing the capital, it gains and add value over small competitors. When output increases, the cost of production decreases, as we have shown in the report, in the illustrated in the base of graph. And the second one is the financial economies. Big companies have a lot of resources, and this increases creators' confidence of doing business with them. And the network online economies, with advancement in technology, many firms have invested in an online platform for marketing and online shopping. Big companies have investment in the online platform, and this has enabled them to reach consumers who are far away from their physical stores. And next is marketing economies. Big firms have capital capacity to financing in marketing. If the management integrates marketing and sales, they will get more revenue when the sales increases. Intense marketing increases brand recognition and market share influence. Moreover, because of their buying power, they instill confidence in suppliers, and they are more likely to attract many and reliable suppliers, unlike the small firms. Managerial economies. Strategic management increases efficiency and performance of the organization through total quality management and continuous improvement in operations. For example, for big firms, matrix organization is very effective because of its flexibility in operations, management, and decision making. Matrix organization allows managers to make the decisions that would enhance performance in their area of supervision without necessarily engaging in constructed consultations. Thank you. And the next part of the presentation, Siddhamappa will take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarika. So I'll be continuing with the external economies of scale. So basically, unlike internal economies of the scale, external economies of the scales are something or which is influenced by the external factors. For example, policies, economies, infrastructure economies, labor economies, uh, research economies, location economies, etc. So I won't be going in detail with every economist because of the time constraint. However, to start with, for example, labor economies, countries like India, they have a huge population, and because of this reason, they are able to, compromise on the price, or in other words, what other countries might not do or not bring the same productivity in their production, it can be easily attained in a country like India. Take for example China. When Apple iPhones are made from China, so Chinese have a unique specialized labor skills, so that they actually put the iPhone screens with the hands, and for that particular price, this cannot be achieved in any other countries. Further continuing, the output cost relations. So this is the graph which basically states that the production cost and the volume produced. So how this graph works is, I'll take you to the conclusion and also explain how this graph works. Okay, so the major conclusion points here are: a firm increase its chances to benefit from economies of scale when they scale up their operations, and scaling up contributes to the increase in the output in the area of specialization and operation, thus resulting in the reduced cost and production unit. So what does that basically mean? Going back to the previous slide, we can explain this very easily in output cost relations. So what's happening here is basically, let's take Holmes as an example. So in 1 year, let's assume Holmes is enrolling 1,000 students, and the rent for the entire building, let's assume the cost is $100,000. So if you break the cost, like the rent Holmes is paying for the entire building, among 1,000 enrolled students, basically the cost will get down to $100 per student per year. Okay, so scaling up, as in terms of scaling up, if let's assume that Holmes will enroll more than 1,000 students, let's say 2,000 students. So all of a sudden, the average cost of the rent per head or per unit of production will fall back to $50. That is because the rent of the homes still remains constant at $100,000, and that brings the average cost uh, lower by 50%. When the economies of the scale for the firm rises, it gains competitive ability in the market over its competitors. Okay, so in other words, this can be explained pretty much simple. For example, let's say Holmes institution enrolls 2 semesters per year, unlike any other universities. If Holmes management or the if Holmes management decides to increase the enrollment by including the third semester in its academic curriculum, that will pretty much lead to Holmes enrolling more students every year, which means again it is having competitive advantage in the market over its competitors. So economies of scale improves the financial gains of the firm by increasing the profit margin due to the reduced cost. Of course, when Holmes is assuming all the other factors are constant, and Holmes can like extend its recruitment of students, or let's say enrollment of students by one more semester, the scales improve the financial gains of the firm by increasing the profit margin, because the cost of production is still the same, but however it's enrolling more students, which means the profit margin is going high. Through scaling up improves economies of scale for the firm. When the firm becomes too big, it can lead to diseconomies of the scale. Like my friend was before explaining, that diseconomy is something related to when the firm becomes too huge, it is unable to control that profit, or in other words, it's unable to manage the uh, same administrative task, or unable to achieve the same results. So let's take homes again in the example. For example, um, every professor, let's assume he or she can easily handle 50 students in one class. So because of the home's decision to enroll more than 50 students in one class, let's assume 75 students are enrolled in one class. So the professor will definitely have hard time to handle the entire class in terms of marking and every other administrative task. So what this means is basically the quality of the education provided by homes, when it is enrolling 50 units per class and 100 units or 100 students per class, will definitely matter and affect the quality of the homes. In other words, this will lead to the basically diseconomies of the scale. And conclusions being continued, economies of scale support multiple productions of the same product, while economies of scope support production of multiple products. Overhead of the production may remain constant, but average cost depends on the quality of the output. Like I discussed before, the higher enrollment of the homes, and at the same time, the quality which is associated with the number of students being enrolled in one particular class. There are two major categories of economy scale as discussed by my other colleagues. Those are internal and external. And internal economies of scale can be influenced and can be controlled by the management, because it depends on the internal environment of the business. And external economies gives all firms equal advantage, and depending on the external environment of the enterprise, the firm can either benefit from the external environment, or it can also be non-beneficial for the same firm. And to conclude, these are the references, and that's it. Thank you.